Almost there. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty. This is a second iteration of our Friday night chill stream. And here is our contractually mandated intro music. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that high-quality musical number you just listened to assures you that you are listening to a high production value, a ethically sourced, finest farm-to-table geeky conversation podcast you can find out there on the interwebs. So thanks for joining us tonight. And let me introduce our guys. Eric from Bloat Games has been here several times. Eric Bloat, really nice to have you again, sir. How you doing?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm doing wonderful. Glad to be back.
All right. And joining us for the first time, I think, in half a decade, is Mr. Charlie McElvy of Zion Studios, who's going to bigger and better things. And he's well, you still got your toe in the pond of RPGs to some extent, but you're doing comic books now. So congrats on that.
Thanks. Yeah. No, in fact, I am still doing some Mutants Mastermind stuff. In fact, this current campaign, a couple of the digital rewards are M&M 3E character bio sheets.
Oh, well, that's cool. Well, hey, since you said the magic word campaign, let's dive in and talk about you are doing another Spider Squirrel and Trash Panda book, right?
I am, yeah. So the first time Trash Panda actually headlines the book. Previously, the first 3 issues were just Spider Squirrel. Turns out that Trash Panda became actually more popular than the titular character. So
I think it's the name, actually.
Yeah,
it's pretty great for a superhero name.
I think people love that, and it's just like I have a villain named Tailgater that everybody wants to get in on. So,
yeah, I have to tell you, my wife walked in while I was looking at your Kickstarter page, and I had to do some explaining.
Then it got exactly the result I was hoping for. So, little shock and awe. No, this is
conversation at Lafferty household was something you had in mind when you drew this. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Mike, Mrs. Lafferty. Sort of. Yeah. No, we're having fun here, and as you guys know, if you've read the first 3 issues of the first volume, you know that we love to have fun. Everything we try to make awkward and humorous as much as possible because life is serious enough, right? So, I love this cover. So this cover is by Julian Shaw. Julian just wrapped up Amazing Spider-Man Annual for this year, and great artist. He was actually working on this in between Spider-Man pages as they were coming in.
Oh, good Lord.
So,
you got the big league boys working with you. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. No, I try not to mess around if I can help it and afford it. But yeah, this is great. This is actually, it was funny. So when I approached Julian, he was like, yeah, I'd love to do a cover. What do you have in mind? And I said, well, I got 3 options for you. You do what you want, iconic, or something from the book. He said, well, let me read the book. And I said, well, I just have the script. So I sent him the script, and he goes, oh my gosh, can I do this scene? And I was like, oh, sure. So this is actually a scene that takes place in the book. Again, comedic. That little Spider Squirrel sticker where he's like, "Oops," is drawn on the page, so that will be there in the actual cover. I think censor bars are actually funnier than showing the real deal. So
it's still a family books, folks. It's
teen plus, but yes, family friendly. Yeah, there's no nudity, no hanky panky. I mean, there's a little implied hanky panky, but no, we're just having fun.
All right. Well, for anyone who might not be familiar with your work, can you give us the brief elevator pitch on Spider Squirrel and Trash Panda?
Yeah, absolutely. So Spider Squirrel and Trash Panda are BFFs. They're dorm mates in college. They're legacy superheroes. So their parents were superheroes. They're trying to set their own, kind of break out of the mold and set their own tone for who they will be as superheroes. This volume is it's a typical buddy cop action comedy adventure for the first 24 pages with Spider Squirrel and Trash Panda, but the remaining 60 plus pages, as you see through these pictures, is various artists, various writing teams coming in and writing anthological stories throughout the Zion universe. So this is something of an anthology. It's also a throwback. If you're old enough to remember the 80-page Giants of old, you'd have like a nice big main story, and then you have a bunch of little backups, or the book would be a series of backups, but depending on who was editing and stuff like that. We're doing that same thing. So that's why this is a Titan-sized annual. Once we hit all stretch goals that I have planned, we will have over 100 pages of content. So whether you buy it now at their current volume and get 80 pages, or we hit all the stretch goals and we get up to 100 pages, you're going to pay the same price. But this is great. Dean Haspel, if you guys are aware of Dean Haspel, he's done the Fox and Red Hook, and he did his Billy Dogma actually on Kickstarter right now. His second Billy Dogma book that I know of, anyway. Dean's a friend. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it looks like you're just about funded. Like you're about 2/3 of the way there with about 2 weeks left.
Yep.
So that's a good place.
Yeah, we're almost 75%. Yep. In fact, we're 6 backers away from releasing a digital exclusive. We're going to give another indie comic away, a premium indie comic, to the first 200 backers once we hit 200. So free stuff for everybody, basically.
Does premium mean it has a foil embossed holographic cover?
If you want to, you can imagine that those electrons are now foil embossed in that digital comic that we're going to give you. So yes, absolutely. It's Project Neosis did a prequel series called Omega 2090. It's a 4-issue series. We're giving away the first issue, and yeah, they usually charge, I think it's $5 for that first issue. We're giving it away for free, thanks to their generous donation of their book to all of the backers. That once we hit 200, which I'm sure we'll hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
For anyone listening on iTunes or various other podcast platforms we're on, spider-squirrel.com is the quickest way to get to your Kickstarter.
Yes, thank you.
And that is super easy. Hey, we might have known someone in. Did you ever meet a guy? When you were auditioning for American Ninja Warrior, did you ever meet a guy called Evan from Colorado?
Evan?
Yeah, I want to say Evan Bartholomew, I believe was his name.
It doesn't ring a bell, but I will tell you, when I was on the show, it was kind of a whirlwind. Like, because I had to drive down to Miami with my family, and then spent 5 days acclimating to nighttime work because the show filmed at night back in the day. Yeah. And then I'm doing the show, and so like I'm looking around, and I know all these people that I've seen on TV for the last 10 years, and so I don't remember Evan specifically, but I apologize, Evan.
He is unfortunately no longer with us, but he was my kid's snowboard coach for a couple of years. Somehow he came up in conversation at Ski Lodge one day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." So,
oh my gosh, well I may have met him and just don't recall.
Well, it sounds like it's a big party. You're meeting tons of people. So, well,
it is. I mean, you figure we had 109 competitors, and then each of us, I had 4 associate producers assigned to me. So I mean, the amount of people I had to interact with in 2 nights was ridiculous. So it's crazy.
I get you. And I'm pretty sure I will never be on American Ninja Warrior, so that's up to you, sir.
Thank you.
But, as we mentioned beforehand, you are doing some RPG stuff with this. It sounds like some of your stretch goals are M&M, Mutants and Mastermind stat blocks for some of the characters.
Yeah, so for the first time, I offered a digital deluxe. You can either buy a digital deluxe as a reward tier, or you can add it on to any tier. And the digital deluxe add-on, part of that is you get the script of the main story, so you can see how I write and how the stories come about. But we're also going to give away at least 2 Mutants and Masterminds bio sheets with character stats sheets for 3E, 3rd edition, sorry. I shouldn't assume anybody knows what I'm talking about. I should assume the basic, right? And we are planning on upwards of 5 Mutants and Masterminds character sheets being delivered digitally to backers with the deluxe add-on. So yeah. So it just depends on stretch goals, but you're getting at least 2.
Sweet. All right, sounds good. Once again, spider-squirrel.com is the greatest way to get to Charlie's page. And he's got 13 days left as of today, so please check it out. And since I cleverly brought up RPGs so I could pivot talking to Eric about his RPG project, this is the kind of skills you have as a professional podcaster you hone over 10 years. So this is the kind of quality podcasting we do here at BAMP. So, Eric, let's talk about Survive This, Dark Places and Demogorgons. This is an awesome game. And tell us what's going on with this particular project.
All right, well, Dark Places and Demogorgons, the Survive This version, that's kind of really the flagship of Bloat Games, which I am the owner of. And it's what put us on the map. It's been out nearly 8 years now, I believe. And so last year, for the first time, we made a version of Dark Places and Demogorgons for Old School Essentials. So Old School Essentials is a retelling of the classic, like basic expert versions of Dungeons and Dragons. And we made a version of Dark Places Demogorgons for that. But with that came a whole bunch of new art, a whole bunch of new layout, new editing, new format. And as soon as that project kind of took off for us, everyone was asking when were we going to update the fairly outdated and basic version of Survive This Dark Place and Demogorgons. And so that's really what the Ultimate Edition is. It's kind of our greatest hits package. If you're going to own one Dark Place and Demogorgons book, this is going to be the book that you want to own. It's going to have a full, setting guide to the Jeffersontown setting. It's going to have, a ton of playable classes, a ton of monsters, a ton of adventure hooks. Really, we're trying to make it our all-in-one, one-stop shop. But it's still mechanical wise, it's still completely 100% mechanic or 100% compatible with all the former versions of Survive This, Dark Place and Demogorgons, and all the other Survive This games like Vigilante City, We Die Young, What Shadows Hide, etc.
Dude, the art is amazing, by the way. I love it.
Phil Long is epic. He's doing work for Wizards of the Coast now, isn't he, as well?
Yeah. Phil Stone, he's doing work for Wizards of the Coast. He's really working for everybody. We had I was very fortunate. We had Runehammer from the Index RPG fame did the covers for us. Phil Stone did a bunch of the interiors. Christopher Torres, Bradley K. McDivitt. We had really a lot of really cool artists jump in and do the book. And for those who aren't familiar with Dark Place and Demogorgons, just so you know what it is, it's a game about teenagers in a small town in the 1980s where strange things begin occurring, and the adults don't believe them, the police won't help them, and it's up to them to figure out what's going on and take care of it themselves.
And sometimes even stranger things might happen. Sorry.
Oh,
occasionally,
man. Mike, after the low-hanging fruit there.
Yeah, sorry. I had to just hit it on the head for no good reason. But hey, we have made a tiny URL for this, so it's easy to find. tinyurl.com/darkdemogorgon. That's Demogorgon spelled DEMO Gorgon. You can check out his Kickstarter right now. He has not a lot of time left. We're coming up on it. You have, I want to say, 6 days left.
No,
9.
I believe it's 11 or 10 or 11. 9. Okay,
it says 9.
Yeah, let's just cross over. So,
but you guys are like 300% funded, so
you're killing it.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're knocking down.
But we've totally funded. So this is a project that's 100% going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely funded. This beautiful piece here, I'm guessing, is Bradley McDivitt, right? This Heckles the Clown piece here.
No, actually, that piece is Christopher Torres.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, good for him. All right, cool. It's kind of reminded me of Bradley's very busy style.
And he's from it. It does. Yeah, he did a lot of work for Weird Frontiers, the Weird West Dungeon Crawl Classics game by David Beatty. That's where I found him through, and he's kind of where for a couple of years Phil Stone was our house artist for Bloat games. With Phil's incredibly busy schedule, it kind of left a hole, and Bradley or Christopher rather has stepped in and kind of taken over the residency as Bloat games in-game or in-house artists.
Yeah, Phil has gotten very popular. I follow him on Instagram. It's a nice mix of him working on art and then going out to the skate park to do things much like Charlie. He's a lot more athletic than I think a guy in his 50s should be, but he gets after it.
Right, exactly.
Sweet. Okay, I've been a big fan of your stuff for a long time, so I'm definitely going to be checking this out. But yeah, you're hitting a lot of 80s nostalgia. Here we have a werewolf surfing on a van, and this looks like a lot of fun. It sounds like if you've been following book games at all, this is definitely a project to get because it's as you say, it's kind of the ultimate edition of Survive This. I almost said Duties and Demigods. What's wrong with me, Eric? I'm sorry.
Dark Place neighborhood. That's no problem. No problem at all. I get tongue-tied with it sometimes myself.
It is all good. So what's next for Bloat Games? I mean,
we've been doing it forever, and as you can see, we got tons of reviews. So
Yeah, if you scroll down the page, if you have any doubts, as you scroll down, tons and tons of video reviews of their work. And I can personally attest for, I'm a big fan of your Valor Knights book, and played that a lot on this very podcast, as well as Monsters Are Our Heroes. So had a lot of fun with that. I'm a big fan of everything you guys do. So now you guys seem to have like 3 or 4 Kickstarters a year, or sometimes more. What's next on the horizon after this one?
Well, actually, we got a couple things that are ready to go to Kickstarter, but we're going to kind of we're putting the brakes on after this particular Kickstarter. We had we've done 6 in the past year, and what's kind of occurring is with the dealing with printers and the different projects. It's really only me and Josh here managing most of it, and really most of it goes through myself. And so it's kind of I'm going to take a little time to get some stuff out there and out from under us before we dive back in and jump in. But we do have several projects in kind of in the tank, just waiting for release dates. It's been after kind of the post-pandemic, it's been a little difficult with the printers. Printers tend to be are continually slowing down, and that's kind of holding up our delivery. So
that's awful. I've heard a lot of folks having problems in that front. Sorry that you're having to fight that as well.
Yeah, for a while we were able to kind of get by, and it wasn't affecting us. I was hearing from everybody, but it's finally caught up to some of our projects too. So
fair enough. All right, well, hey folks, once again, tinyurl.com/Dark Demogorgon, and that's DEMO Gorgon, and it's a fun project. It's definitely going to happen, and there's no better place to spend your RPG dollars right now tonight than on this Kickstarter. So check it out. You won't be sorry. So thanks for coming on board, guys. This was billed as kind of a casual chat stream, but I realized we kind of jumped right into the promotion part of the evening. So that's on me. What are you guys watching or reading these days? How are you guys amusing yourselves when you're not busy creating comic books or role-playing games?
I'm actually reading a lot of manga these days. Most of my reading is indie comics. In fact, I got 2 books from various Kickstarters today. Yay! Woo! So this is called the Cro-Magnon from my buddy Fish Lee, who did a cover for my book once for us. And then this is the Saturn Effect from Chris Moses. So I've actually backed that book since issue 1. And Chris is actually a co-creator of mine now. So we're doing a book that we were talking about backstage. We're doing a mature audiences book. We're just going to call it American Yakuza for short. But that'll be out next year. It's going to be a 96-page graphic novel. Mike's laughing because he and Eric heard the title earlier, so it was pretty funny.
Yeah, sorry I was on mute. But ladies and gentlemen, it was a very long title.
I can type it, but by the time I finish typing it, the show would be over. And there's my Mel Brooks joke for the day. But thank you. So I'm reading a lot of manga. My favorite right now are Kaiju number 8 is my absolute favorite manga. I'm enjoying the heck out of that. But I'm also reading Dan Dan, and The Way of the House Husband has really hooked me. And it's funny because I love to cook. And so I'm reading this ex-Yakuza assassin who's like one of the greatest assassins in the world. And now he decides to be a house husband. So he's doing stuff like yoga. And as he's doing yoga poses, he's like, "Oh, this is what happens when you get shot in the head and you're posed like this," And it's just hilarious. That book is it's worth reading. It's really funny. That and then Sakamoto Days. So outside of that, all I'm reading is a bunch of indie comics, and then I think the only mainstream stuff I'm reading is Moon Knight, honestly, and Batman Incorporated.
Moon Knight's been awfully good lately.
It is Jed McKay's Moon Knight, and what David Pepose is doing with the follow-on series, City of the Dead. Fantastic stuff, guys. Fantastic stuff. So I absolutely love those. And they're more indie flavored anyway, the way those books are written.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I haven't been reading a lot of comics lately. I've been reading some horror comics and this and that, but everyone who listens to this podcast has probably heard my favorite addiction at the moment. So I will ask Eric Bloat, since we haven't seen you in a while, what are you into these days, sir?
The what I've been into. There we go. I think I'm back. All right, but yeah, back. Batman: The Adventure continues. I've been getting trade paperbacks for those. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. And
no worries. No, it happens.
And
that's the continuation of the Paul Dini cartoon, right?
That really just watching the Jack Ryan on Amazon.
Yeah, Jack Ryan is outstanding. That show is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah, me too. Exactly. Yeah, my wife actually wanted to watch it. I wasn't too excited, but once I watched it, I was really impressed.
I got my wife to watch The Bear with me, and we're going to watch them after this show. And it's a show that I wasn't sure if she'd like or not. Dude, like you, like in reverse, I got her to watch it. She's like, can we watch more? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen some clips of The Bear. I don't have Hulu, but it gives me flashbacks to working in restaurants. So I'll have to check it out at some point once the scars have healed. But
have either of you gents read either The Human Target or good grief, Batman the White Knight series? Those are the best like DC books I've read in forever.
No, I'm not.
I've heard good things, but I haven't. What I picked up this week, Mark Waid is writing the Titans right now.
Yes, and I'm a Titans fan, so I'm so giddy.
Yeah, I wrote a Sidekicks RPG book for Walter Billiard, and he's been too busy being a novelist to get it published. But that's for his Supers Red system, which hasn't had a release in a while. But hopefully it'll be out this year. Sidekicks Incorporated. So as part of my research for that, I was reading, the New Warriors, Classic Titans, Young Justice. There was, I want to say, God, it was Champions. Was the basically a Young Avengers team. We didn't call them Young Avengers, and they had time lost Cyclops, time lost Scott Summers was on this team.
That was so fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was when Cyclops was dead, and there was the young Cyclops going, I did what?
Yeah.
So that was Mark. I guess I'll just read whatever Mark Waid puts out. Come to think of it, but yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, Waid and Boom Studios just released the entire Irredeemable collection, which if you guys haven't read that is another. It's Waid. I mean, let's be honest, but it's a great Waid Superman deconstruction, and it is so good. It is the best deconstruction of a superhero genre I've ever seen in my life.
It is. Yeah. I've heard good things. I've read a few issues, and I was impressed. I haven't dove into it to a large extent, but
now you can buy a whole omnibus if you want.
It's a good time to do it. So, well, hey, I am getting my wife and child pinging me over Alexa, so I said her name out loud. Damn it, hope she doesn't. And do you get any thoughts, closing thoughts, comments before we call it a podcast?
Eric?
I do not know. Yeah, it's been nice chatting with you guys. Thanks for having me on again.
Oh, always good talking to you, sir.
And if you get a chance, check out my Kickstarter.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and Mike, absolutely. Thanks again for having me on. It was nice to meet you, Eric. And Mike, it's always good to chat with you, buddy. So miss you, and I haven't talked to Walt in a while, so I'd love to see Walt at some point.
Walt, he's working for a military sci-fi publisher, and he's did like 6 novels last year. He's writing
That's
like a House of
crazy. Fire. Yeah, that's outstanding. Well, I'm glad to hear it. So good for him.
He has quit his day job and is paying all his bills writing fiction now. So he's one of the few in the crowd who can
awesome.
Like Eric, he makes his living from creativity. So yeah, big props to Walt.
I will be there one day.
I will not be there one day, but I aspire to be. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Pleasure talking to you. You guys have a good night.
Thanks, Mike. See you, Eric.
Good on to you. See ya.